to the Repair Cafe movement. I mean, I first heard about it probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so ago. And the idea of reusing things and getting control of our objects and being able to reduce the amount of things that go into landfills or incinerators or into the ocean is extremely appealing. And I think that that is what brings a lot of people to this. So I'm going to share my screen. And here we go. So let me get rid of this here. And here we go. So you know why you're here. And I'm sure you all know who Martine Postma is, who created the whole Repair Cafe concept. And of course, the idea of repairing your own stuff has been around for a really long time. And she just made it a little bit more of an international movement. And that is definitely something that I really, I'm so grateful for. And it is really strange to see her now with the way that she looks now, because she has really long gray hair. So she looks completely different. And I'm going to disappear for a second while I plug something in and get the other slideshow going. So I'm going to move along here. And now this, I've had to update this slide every 6 months or so because this really increases all the time. And this is only the number of repair cafes that have registered with Repair Cafe International. There are a lot that just work kind of unofficially. There are some that, there are other community repair events that don't call themselves repair cafes, but that are fix-it clinics where people fix their own things with the help of other people. But it's less of an expert. Then they could be, you know, fix-it experts, also repair experts. But the idea is for the person bringing an object to fix it themselves. So. Sure. Did anybody else have a question? Another question? Let's see. Jennifer Sirac, did you want to say something? No? Okay.
Nope, I'm all good.
Okay. Let's see. And Al, did you have anything else to say?
No, not at this time.
I just saw your I just saw your hand up. So
I did that when I didn't know what else to do.
Okay, great. And then Karen, did you have any questions or anything?
I was just going to let you know that the reason you're seeing Zoom the way you are is you're in the large presentation format, which is people aren't, the audience can't see each other and can't participate in the same ways. I'm not sure if you can switch it mid presentation or if it has to be something you set before it begins.
Yeah, I'm not, and I'm surprised that I can see a chat function, but it's not letting me enable it for anybody else. It's a little bit frustrating. So let me see. I'm going to, let me get back into this, the slideshow. So I'm sorry about all these multiple screens that I have going on too. But to join the Repair Cafe, to become an official Repair Cafe, you have to sign up with the Repair Cafe, with Repair Cafe International. It's an international organization. And you get it's not that expensive. It's $53 or 49 euros. I think you do have to pay in euros. And you get a free toolkit from iFixit. iFixit is a wonderful partner in this work. They will send you a kit. I think you might have to pay the postage, but it's worth $90. It's a Pro Tech toolkit, and it has a million different tiny little screwdriver ends and screwdrivers, including a flexible one that it's just really helpful to do just about anything. You can also use the logo and the name, and then in that kit you're going to get a gazillion logos. You've got a lot of logos that you can personalize. You'll get signs that you can use to identify tables. You'll get examples of a manual also for what you can follow. This is what we're talking about here. And also, I also urge you just to join the Repair Cafe Garden State Google group. There's information at the very end, the last slide. There'll be a QR code, a way to reach me also, and some other supplemental materials that will help flesh some more things out too. So you'll see here, there's an image of what, when you log on, you get an actual little page on the Repair Cafe International website where you can put your information like I did here, and the dates of your next events. You'll be able to update it, put your email, your website there, and ways to contact you, plus whatever you're going to be repairing. And you can even put a photograph up there too. So I have a photograph up there of Elsa, who does all of our textile work. Though I should say that our events have been rescheduled. I'm actually going to a new library. I'm going to be joining the Fort Lee Public Library starting August 5th, where I hope to start another Repair Cafe up there. But they'll be keeping the repair cafes happening here in Ridgewood. The next one will be November 9th, which is a Saturday at the same time too. So you'll get that logo and the name. And let me see if anybody else, I'm going to just give people a chance to ask.
Quick question.
Yes.
Are you Larissa Brookes?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see. And then Karen, let's see.
I'm in a meeting.
Oh, Karen, did you want to, anyone else want to say anything? Okay, Robin, you have the ability. If anybody wants to say, you have your hands raised, then please just talk. Just tell me if you have anything, Robin or Jen.
Yeah, I had a question. If you sign up with the official Repair Cafe organization after the $53, is there an ongoing cost? And are you obliged to do a certain number of cafes per year or anything?
No, it's, you get the kit and it's extremely flexible. And you, I mean, it's not even assigned to a person. It is a little bit of an honor system in a way. Like, I mean, once you have it, you could just, give it to somebody else. It's just a digital file that you're getting. So you don't sign any kind of agreement where you say you're going to do a minimum amount. You could just, change your mind or decide, you can't do this right now, but I'm sorry.
Texted me and said,
I'm sorry? Was someone just asking a question? Okay. So, and it's easy, the Repair Cafe International is separate from Garden State, Repair Cafe Garden State, and this can get a little confusing. So there is the official Repair Cafe International, but then there are a lot of unofficial groups. And the biggest one that I know of is Repair Cafe Hudson Valley.
oh my gosh, I'm not her. I am not using her.
Is everyone okay?
There is.
Hello?
What is wrong? But what is wrong with her, Beth?
Okay, I think that I'm sorry, could you mute
This
yourself?
is not, I have
I'm
told
sorry,
her.
I don't know who
I
is.
have told her over and
I'm just
over
going to
again.
ask everybody, I'm just going to try to see what's going on there. So, okay. So yeah, it can get confusing, like which one is which organization. So Repair Cafe Garden State is a different, and it's not really even an official organization just yet. It's more like a concept right now. Courtney Cordaro and I started it a few years ago as a way to follow what Repair Cafe Hudson Valley is doing. They've done some really tremendous work. They are a great organization that is fostering so many repair cafes and helping with the sustainability movement up in the Hudson Valley area. And they have more repair cafes going on there than the entire state of New Jersey does. So they are a wonderful example. And I hope that we can offer the kind of support that they can do. That's definitely something that I'm working for. So that's what that looks like. Let me get back to this. So this is John Wackman, who co-authored a book with Elizabeth Knight called Repair Revolution. And it is really one of the most important books that you could read about starting a repair cafe or the repair revolution. John was really just an unbelievable, like wonderful human being. And he died suddenly just about 2 or 3 years ago. right after this book was published, and we really lost a really wonderful hero there too. So here we have an image of like why we do it. When I was asking people why they do it, this is Suzanne from the Jersey City Repair Cafe. I just met her on Sunday at the Jersey City Repair Cafe, and here they are showing like another happy person. That sign, doing a sign is really an important thing to have. It's really nice to do that, to get, once you get a repair cafe going, to show people a happy person with a sign that has, especially with your name on it, like this. I'll show you. Right here, like we have this, like you get a picture with somebody who's holding up this, and then put it on your social media or in future ads for your get back into this. So this is just your regular reasons why you do this. And so the first thing we're going to get into is, because I think this is one of the most daunting parts of starting a repair cafe, is finding your volunteers. And it can be intimidating to think about, like, where are you going to find all these expert people, especially if you're not one of those expert people. Just to go back to Elizabeth and John's book, the Repair Revolution book talks about how you can get volunteers. And also there are just, once you start talking, I'm sure that if you are a repair minded person or a sustainability minded person, you already know other people who are interested in this, and you already know other organizations. And you can also ask us if you're in New Jersey. We get, Courtney and I get emails from people who are interested in volunteering for repair cafes or interested in starting one too. And a lot of you have emailed us about that, and that's how we found you and how you found us. Some people who volunteer for repair cafes tend to love volunteering for repair cafes. And this happens really at the end of every event that I've held, is the volunteers are asking, when is the next repair cafe? Because there's something beautiful about that community and the connection that you get and the feeling of satisfaction from repairing something too. It's really not like, it's really not like a whole lot of other volunteer opportunities. So I'm going to this. So another place, but other places where you can find volunteers is to work with existing organizations, like your local sustainability office or office for environmental affairs, your recycling center, high school sustainability clubs, high school shop groups. There are your public library. There'll be age in place organizations, like they're age friendly groups for people who have retired or people who are looking for something meaningful to do. Local colleges or universities, community colleges, they might have clubs or classes. There'll be computer science groups, or robotics clubs. Also, that's another great place to look for potential volunteers. Ridgewood has this really robust group called the Hobbyists, and we've gotten a few volunteers through that group. There are some people who just have a lot of skills and knowledge, and they want to keep using that skills and knowledge. Chamber of Commerce or local business groups, the Rotary clubs, civic organizations. There also, I would suggest, local repair groups or repair shops. There are people who can advertise their own work too. I mean, there's no ban on that. Just because you're volunteering there doesn't mean that you can never solicit business. And this is a great way for people to get their name out there too. One of our jewelry repair people there are things that she can do, right? She does so much repair in the repair cafe, but there are bigger jobs that she can't do in the repair cafe. So if it's like pearl restringing, that's something that somebody can hire for outside. There could be a woodworker who comes here and does some work here, but has business cards out there. So it's perfectly fine for somebody to have business cards out and to publicize their own business too. Because I don't think that repair cafes have ever taken away business from a repair shop. I mean, I think that repair shops have died for a whole lot of other reasons. And I think that's one of the why so many of us are here right now too, is that this planned obsolescence and this built-in obsolescence is just making it so impossible to repair stuff, so that it just seemed like why you couldn't even make a living doing it. Local repair shops, I think, are a natural partner with repair cafes. Hardware stores hardware stores can be a great clearinghouse for information. You can find out about contractors or plumbers or whatever, but hardware stores can also be a source of funds too, or might be interested in making donations. There are on social media, I would check the local sustainability groups, Buy Nothing groups, and there are DIY ones on Facebook or Nextdoor, even a local Reddit subreddit. And also to keep in mind that there are many roles that you need to fill in a repair cafe. And it's not just somebody who can rewire a lamp, though rewiring a lamp is really, really important. But it's great to have people who people who can just help a crowd move through, people who can handle all the paperwork, because it does get hectic sometimes. And the other thing is that, I know this sounds hokey, but if you build it, they will come. Where people don't know what a repair cafe is, sometimes you just have to try to get one started, and it will publicize itself in a way that people are going to come and they're going to think, okay, so this is what a repair cafe is. And I really want to know more about this. And I think that, yes, so there will be. So, and then Karen, no, that there's no repair cafe on the 28th. So I just wanted to get that one out there. And then I'm going to get back to my other computer here. And, so, like I said, you'll need different types of volunteers. And you'll need the volunteers who help you get your whole event off the ground that is in the initial planning stages. And so you might not be on your own doing this. And this is going to be for the PR and marketing. And for PR and marketing, you really have like 2 stages of marketing. You are marketing Repair Cafe as a concept and your need for volunteers. And then there's a second stage when you're actually marketing your event. So the first part is to be talking with people. Talking with people about what is a repair cafe if you don't have a lot of knowledge about that. So you might visit some groups like a Chamber of Commerce or Rotary Club, or if you can get into a high school, and just to get that information out there. But for PR and marketing, it'll be pretty much the same as for your second stage when you're talking about your event. You could write a press release talking about this. You're starting to meet with as many potential volunteer sources as possible. One of the other possible sources for volunteers is also other sustainability organizations too, because people who volunteer with repair cafes tend to be Uber volunteers. One of our volunteers here in Ridgewood, I met when he was helping pull tires out of a pond when we were doing a pond cleanup for a sustainability group, or Ridgewood Wildscape, actually, when we were on a little a walk. So you'll need your PR and marketing. And I'm not saying that these are different people necessarily, but they're different roles. You will probably have the same person filling many different roles. So you have your volunteer wrangler or scheduler, a person who knows who you have, knows what their area of expertise is, and knows whether or not they can come. There's a lot of paperwork. I will show you some of the paperwork here.
Larissa, may I interrupt with a question?
Sure.
Is it possible that we could find a little time today before people leave to find out where they are and what they are hoping to do? And maybe we will find that there's someone online who is actually in our area and interested in doing the same thing that we are. To just let each know, Do you think we could find some time to do that?
Well, what I would love to do is at the very end to invite everybody to join the Repair Cafe Garden State Google group, where we can share all of that information. And then we will have it all collected where we can refer to that. We can refer to who is from where, what they need. We can share sign-in sheets. We can share publicity, where we can share supply lists and things like that. Because I'd love to, because I really am hoping to retain this information, because that's also super important. It's lovely. The Hudson Valley Group has a Google group, and it's a godsend that you can just post a question there and you can search the past questions. And so like when I wanted to do a watch, replace a watch repair kit, it was easy for it to pop up. I got that really easily. So at the very end, I would like to ask people to do that. So you'll need some more volunteers to organize your tools and supplies, to figure out how to set up your space, and get snacks, to make sure you at least have something for your volunteers. And then you'll need some help during the event. The intake and crowd flow is really as important as the repair coaches. And then maybe you can have a musician. We've had a pianist a few times. He hasn't been able to come for the last few events, but it's really is lovely to have somebody who can play music. Is such a treat, and it adds just a nicer, warmer feeling of community to the whole event. And it's also a way that people who might not have any like repair ability that they feel comfortable with, well, they can also participate in this. So it's great if you have somebody doing some nice photography or video. Taking videos is really appealing. Videos are especially popular with social media users, and they get a lot of attention. So if you can take videos, that will be really helpful for you for future publicity. And then also helping to clean up, because that is a good amount of work too. And I'm just going through the questions. And see.
Could you explain how, where is that link that we will be able to see who is actually on here today?
That'll happen at the very end. I'm going to get to that in the very end.
Okay.
So, then afterwards, it's really helpful to have. You're going to want to have statistics. We've been trying to keep better statistics about, so you know exactly what your benefits are. In terms of the amount of pounds of waste that you're keeping out of a landfill. Sometimes it gets a little bit fuzzy, but it is important to keep some data about the event, because you want to be able to compare your current events to past events, and be able to explain also to your municipality. You might be part of a sustainable Jersey. Your municipality might be part of Sustainable Jersey, and repair cafes are a huge help to maintaining certification also. So keeping those statistics will just show how relevant you are. And then also to have a short write-up. Elizabeth Knight does these really wonderful descriptions of her events, and includes photographs. And you're going to find that some of the things that will stay with you are these stories that you're going to hear, or that you're going to really witness at these events, because people are bringing in things that are important to them, or things they've had for a while, and it's a wonderful thing to witness. Their real worry at the beginning, and then happiness at the end, and then the story that they might have about that object is really kind of beautiful also. So one little thing to keep in mind is that when you're looking for your volunteers, you're going to want to have an idea about a little bit about when your event is, so people can have an idea whether or not they can attend it or not, and to know what supplies and tools you'll have. In Ridgewood, we've really collected a lot of tools, but there are many repair volunteers who bring their own stuff. They will have their own carts. Paul has his own stand for bicycles, repairing bicycles. So people will have their own whetstones, will have their own stuff for sharpening blades, will have their own mask for welding something. So a lot of people will actually bring in their own stuff, but it's great to have tools. We will for sure need supplies, or what you might think of as the consumables. And we'll get to that, like that's all going to be a link to a folder for everybody that will have things like a supply list, a typical supply list. And because you're going to go through a lot of lamp parts like light bulb bases and plugs and stuff like that. Next one. So here's Ridgewood Repair Cafe. So we're looking into location, like when you're choosing a location. And so this, you see, and the behind the woman with the Furby is Davis, and he is a high school student whose mom contacted me. And unfortunately, I think he's just going into 10th grade right now, so he's going to be around for a while, but he's not super comfortable doing the electrical rewiring, but he's great at the electronic stuff, like these little, like when things are just glitching, like that little Furby. So things to consider when you're looking for a location. Some of you might already have a location in mind. If you're a public library, you probably have a big enough space for that. So you want to have a big, like auditorium-like space, and you can. I'm in the Ridgewood Auditorium. It isn't humongous, but it is pretty big. You're going to want to have space for at least 10 conference table, like 10 6x9 tables or so, maybe not even that wide, but with a lot of space to move around. Chairs on either side of the tables for the coaches and for the people who are waiting to get their stuff repaired, and enough room for people to move around and for people to wait also, because there are going to be people waiting. You want to make sure you have enough electrical outlets, and if the power is good, that you want to know where where the fuse box is. Hair dryers are the worst in terms of blowing fuses. I'm just going to check one more thing. Okay, and let's see, lighting. You want to make sure you have good lighting. Here, this looks like it has great lighting, but even there's some little pockets that are not perfect. And you might need to have a special light or lamp for somebody who's doing like sewing or jewelry, and for the watch part too. But this is a great room, and we have doors on the side where we can open up onto a courtyard where you can take care of the other repairs can happen that might need a little bit of fresh air. We used to have somebody who could do generators, do internal combustion engines, and so we're like, okay, you can do that snowblower stuff right out here. Parking is really important. I mean, not as important as I thought. I was at the Jersey City one on Sunday, and I thought, oh, gosh, Jersey City is going to be impossible, but there's really ample street parking, and I found a space around the corner. It really wasn't that bad. If you do have a parking issue for your location, you could maybe have a couple cones out there where somebody is kind of like a loading zone for both your volunteers who are unloading maybe some of their tools, and for somebody who's dropping off something big, where somebody could just pull in and drop off something, find a parking space. That's one option to deal with the tight parking. You want to make sure that it is accessible to people of all abilities, that it's really easy, that there's not a lot of, that there aren't stairs, that there's easy ramps, and that doorways are really open too. And I'm not going to talk really about the legal aspects of this, so I will talk a little bit about when we get into a waiver. But you'll probably need to deal with insurance. Here in the library, the event falls under the library's liability insurance. So you might have to, if you're part of another group, you might have to sign a rider to get onto their insurance. I'm not sure, but that is something to keep in mind. So here are some ideas for locations that repair cafes that have been in that are where they're being held. So obviously public libraries. New Jersey has not held too many in public libraries that I can think of. The Ridgewood one is the only one that's regularly in a public library. And Jersey City Repair Cafe is in a church gym. There's this picture of it right here. And it's a petite gym, but it works great. I think the library itself is a little small because some libraries just don't have a big enough space for an event like this. There are other, Maplewood has a couple of locations. Warwick Town Hall has their houses of worship. Well, that is like the Grace Van Voorst Church, which is where you see this camera part over here. the Grace Van Voorst Church in Jersey City. Rockland County, like their waste management is just unbelievable. They're in Ulster County, they're really so advanced. But there are some co-working spaces. The very first Ridgewood Repair Cafe was actually in a maker space in the high school. And it had to be on a Monday evening because that was the only time that they had that space, but it fell under their insurance too. So it wasn't perfect, but it was the very first one, and it was how we got started. So it was the nice thing about having it in a library is that we could do this on a Saturday when a lot more people are available to either fix things or to bring their stuff in. And you can brainstorm. There might be other places near you too.
Larissa, we're newly joined part of the Garden State Repair Cafe, and we are actually in a library as well, Bernards Township.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Fantastic. Fantastic. I'm so glad. It's such a natural partnership. I mean, just considering the community building aspect of it and the knowledge building, it really makes sense. So here we have, if you do not have a big enough space or you wanted to start off small, you could have a specialized repair cafe. And this is what is really cool about the whole repair cafe concept, is that it is really flexible. I mean, Martine makes it very like you can pay for it, use those logos, and you can call yourself a repair cafe, but you can really just make it any kind of repair event. So I had a bunch of repair jewelry experts, and so we did jewelry only, and there were people waiting for 20 minutes before it started, even right outside. Elizabeth Knight had a textile workshop, Mending Matters, which I loved this idea. I didn't go to this, but I love the idea. I mean, I wanted to do one that's just about, like, don't let the moths win. Just like trying to do some visible mending for sweaters. I mean, I have so many sweaters. I think one day I'm going to do this. So I'm going to do this one. So actually, I'm going to take a quick break right now. Let's just be back right at 4:50, and I'm going to make sure this other little presentation I have will work. And I'll be right here. Oops, but I'll be right back to talk at 4:40. I mean, sorry, 4:50.
Is anybody still online at this
Oh,
Zoom?
I'm here. I'm here.
I think we all are.
Well,
Yeah, it's
it
just,
seems
yeah.
like things are on hold.
Yes. I said I'm going to be right back. I was just taking a quick break in case anybody wanted to step up. I'll be right back on at 4:50.
Could I ask, is there anyone in the area of Roxbury, New Jersey in our group today?
I'm in Morristown at the Morristown Library,
Okay,
and we're
I'm looking.
just
to
looking
see if-
into this because we've never done it. Just trying to find out more about it.
Well, I hope you are successful with it. I think important would be to try to get to see one live in action. Have you done that
Yeah.
yet?
No, this is my
Okay, well,
first
that
thing.
would really be important. So the next local one that's close enough and on a good day for you, you should try to go and spend some time there to see it in operation. It's very useful and
Mhm.
will help. But I'm looking for someone who would help to start one in the Roxbury area. I think the Roxbury Library was interested in getting one going. However, the head library person just changed jobs, went from Roxbury to Montclair. So I guess they're a little bit in a flux. Is there anybody
Don't worry,
who,
don't lose hope. Don't lose hope, Al. Don't lose hope. There's still, yes, there's,
but nobody that who's like really close to this area is on this session with us today, right?
I think there is.
There is.
Yes.
Why don't they speak up if they're here?
Because not everybody is, because I started muting people when somebody else was talking, and I
Oh.
can't just unmute everybody just as one. I have to go into settings, which I can't, that means I have to exit this, I'd have to exit the webinar
Okay.
and then start up again.
Okay, well, anyway, it's 4:50.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Okay. So we can get back. Okay, let me get back to participants and let's see. Okay. All right, so let's try to get back. If you do want to raise, if you do want to, oh, Al, do you have something else to say? Or no, I don't know if you just raised your hand or not.
No.
So,
No, why can you
Okay.
see me?
no, I saw you raised your hand. I didn't.
Oh,
I'm gonna
no, I
just-
don't. No, you can delete that.
Okay, so if anybody else would like to say anything, please raise your hand and I will unmute you. So one of the really most important things that you can do is, and then I'll get back to some of these questions too later. One of the really most important things to do is to publicize your event. And as I mentioned earlier, when you are marketing your event, when you're doing it kind of twice, because you're first looking for volunteers, and which means you're kind of educating your local community about what is a repair cafe, what you need, what happens there, because you're explaining to your volunteers also like what is going on at this. And one of the things that I've done is to write a press release for local news outlets. There is a print newspaper here in Ridgewood that comes out once a week, that they've carried our events. They did have, and it's really helpful if you have some photographs. If you do need photographs and you don't have any, you can contact us at Repair Cafe Garden State, because we will have some images that we can share with you. And Tap Into Ridgewood has been phenomenally helpful. They have publicized all of our events. And also if you publicize with a local news outlet, they'll often send a photographer, because Tap Into has also sent a photographer. And having someone who's not running around like trying to manage the event, taking pictures is great, unless you have like somebody else who's doing your social media, that kind of thing. Let's see. So, and sometimes I wish that the Bergen Record would do something too, but once you get your name out there, you might find that other news organizations like the local, I don't know which affiliate it was, but there was a local news camera crew and reporter at the Jersey City Repair Cafe. And that should be on the, that was part of our, posted that to our Repair Cafe Google group. You should talk to everybody you know about this, and your volunteers should tell people you know. Some repair cafes do those little like those lawn signs, and you can, if you can, like do a lawn sign. You're in front of where you live, in front of where other people live. That's great. explore when you're looking around, look at how where you live, see how other events or initiatives are being advertised. Does your town have a townwide newsletter? Does it have a calendar? Try to get on as many calendars as possible. Local houses of worship. We have a train trestle where you can get banner space. And so we just pay for a banner. The banner was like $120 or so. It's much huger than it seems when you see it on this train trestle, but the town will change the date on it. So all I have to do, it's always on a Saturday from 1 to 4, just about always on a Saturday from 1 to 4, and they'll put a new date patch over. And that gets a lot of eyes, because you really want to reach people in many different ways as possible. And the more times people hear something, the more it's going to stick with them. Our events also go into our library newsletter, onto our library website, onto the event calendar, onto social media. And I can, sometimes there are just too many places. I can't even figure out all the places I can't even contact them all. The local recycling center will put up a poster too. Any sustainability groups, all the same organizations you went through when you're looking for your volunteers. You can also, oh yes, make sure you email us at repaircafegardenstate@gmail.com, and we'll make sure that your event is added to our calendar. And whoever your host is, if it's a church or a library or other venue like that, if they have their own publicity, see, make sure you can use that publicity too. Put up flyers wherever you can. Flyers, I'm not sure how helpful flyers are. Sometimes librarians can really fetishize flyers, and we just do flyers for everything. And so they're not always the best way for us to spend time, but certainly give time to put up flyers. If you can put them up in your neighborhood, that's great. Or in your coffee shop, grocery store. I mean, give it a try. At the farmer's market in town, that's maybe a place where you can also seek volunteers, but you can get a free table. You can market your need for volunteers and then market the event itself. There might be an environmental festival, if there's a music festival, anything like that, pride event, whatever, you can get interest that way too. And also make sure that you publicize the day up, because even if you've done all of this work, there's still going to be people who are like, what? You're having a repair cafe? Or what is that? It doesn't matter if you've been standing on a roof with a megaphone. There are going to be so many people who will not have heard about it. And it makes me crazy, but it just happens that way. So we have one of those sidewalk posters, like a big frame that I just wheel outside with a big sign that says Repair Cafe today. And I make sure one is on the sidewalk, and then one is also, there are 2 entrances to this library. Main entrance on the side on Maple Avenue, and then there's a parking lot entrance. And so I make sure that people can see it, and that's actually out there for the month before. So it's out on the sidewalk even before, and then the day of I put another poster in there that just says it's happening today. And then I saw this idea somewhere just to put sidewalk chalk around, which I don't know, like whether that would be something that would be appealing to. And a lot of people might already know about Canva, and Courtney Cordaro, who's the co-leader of Repair Cafe Garden State, is a professional graphic designer. So I am a little mortified to admit how much I use Canva. I wish I could do my own graphic design as well as she could, but I can't. It really is a special skill to be able to create clean, clear, accessible communications that are visually appealing and convey information in an obvious way. So if you're not one of those people who knows what you're doing, Canva is great. It's also a way that you can modify any designs that we give you, like incorporating logos that you get from Repair Cafe International. I've used a paid account here, and if our little group, Garden State Repair Cafe group, gets well established, we could, you can get a free Canva account for nonprofits. And so we have one for the library. It's free professional account, which really opens up a whole lot of options. But that's another possibility is, maybe if our organization we can be like a true nonprofit. So to get more attention also, try to use images and video too. Video just gets so many views. And if you don't have anything, you can ask Courtney or me. Let me see, let's go to next. So you've gotten to your day, the day of your event. And now you will have set up your tables. You're going to need more tables than you think you do. I really am amazed at how many tables that you need. And you'll want to make sure that your forms are laid out on your check-in table, which should be, by your front door. You should also be aware that once, people will start pushing their way in too, because they're anxious. They see all these people in front of them. And some repair cafes will take an appointment. I haven't figured out how that would work exactly. So it's really a first come, first served. And this is the diciest part of the repair cafe, is managing the crowd and the expectations. So you want to make sure it's calm. You have some snacks for people. If you're in a library, I have a reading table. I have a table with books that are related to repair, even like credit repair, anything like that. There are magazines like Popular Mechanics or like This Old House, and links to our databases. I know that Chilton's, the car repair people, have a database that they're marketing to libraries. I doubt that we would get it, but I don't know. It'd be really cool to have something like that, because the car business was really the first to have open repair rules, which is what the rest of the manufacturers should follow. So I'm going to show you some of the forms that you have. You're going to have these intake forms, and these are in the folder that you'll have a QR code access to at the very end. And this thing called the house rules, and the house rules are kind of big, and it's the closest thing to like a legal document that you're going to have, in addition to this intake form. The intake form has a waiver. Also, you're asking people to say, by my signature below, I accept the house rules, and I consent or don't consent to your using my image in Repair Cafe promotions. I actually separated those two things out so that people know that they're consenting to my using their image. And if they're kids, I'm really super careful. I have this totally cute picture of a little girl who's getting her, I don't know, grandmother's at this point, probably Fisher Price record player, one of those plastic ones with the big thick plastic discs. And she was so happy about it. I said, oh, we have to use her picture. So I did make sure that I had the parents' permission for that. But you want to make sure that people look at these house rules, that they're getting repairs for free, and in exchange for that, they are not going to sue you for anything that goes wrong, that they are taking their chances, and that this makes it super clear. So you want to make sure that they've taken this. I actually put this in a big lucite frame right at the intake desk, along with these forms. And also, I do have some feedback forms, and these are just straight what the Repair Cafe people, sorry, this is like doing a mirror image, what the Repair Cafe International organization has. I just use pretty much the same form but I add our Ridgewood added to it. So you'll want to have lots of pencils or pens, because people will need to fill out this information. It's helpful to have a table where people can do this, so they're not just standing right there, but it depends on how much room you have. I mean, I'm actually thinking that, and the other thing is you're going to be thinking of new ways to do this all the time. I'm still thinking about this. Like, I would probably do intake outside the room, because it gets really crowded inside, and people start getting really antsy and anxious when they see how many people are waiting. So it might be easier just to do that outside the room. Still thinking about that one. So lots of pencils and pens, and then you have some snacks laid out. It doesn't have to be anything special, but you usually have a percolator or some lemonade and some seltzer and some cookies. It depends on what you're able to provide. So this is what happens like when you've just opened your doors. So you want to open your doors like at 1 o'clock or whenever your event is starting. And there are going to be some repair coaches who want to start repairing like before the door opens. But they just are so eager to get started. And I mean, I had one wonderful volunteer who was jump starting somebody's car in the parking lot even before the event started. So they're just really there to help people out, and they just don't want to be wasting their time just waiting to open the door. So they want to get started, but I also am mindful of managing the crowd's expectations and just making sure that people aren't going like bonkers, thinking like, wait a minute, that person got in front of me. So because that can get a little bit difficult. See if there's anything else. Let me see before. Okay, just a little bit more, and then I'm going to get on to the questions. So you've gotten through the intake form, and this is another type of volunteer who's really super helpful. And this is usually what I'm doing when I come in, is to match people who are coming in with a repair person. And this is when it gets a little bit dicey, or can get a little awkward, because there could be, you could have 5 people with lamps and then 1 person with jewelry. And it was the 6th person, and that 6th person might go first because there's nobody at the jewelry table. But the lamp people will all be waiting. And there are ways to, I'll show you later, that there are lots of different repair types for each table that you could have, but there are some people who can do many types of repairs. And that it is, I just will check, like, I have a good idea about what people are capable of what, but it is also okay just to say, hey, are you comfortable with this electric scooter? That's like something that I find to run by, so just to make sure. Oops. So these are like I said, the repair tables. So you could have volunteers whose job it is to make sure that people get to the right place. You want to make sure that they are coordinating with each other, so they're not sending different signals to different people, because people are really, visitors are coming out are really aware of, like, oh, this person got in front of me. These are some suggestions for some tables. And this is also really cool. This is where your individuality as a repair cafe can express itself, where the strengths of your repair coaches can really be on display. Because you can have your basic stuff, your small appliances, and these are, coffee makers. These things come in all the time. You could have small furniture, little wooden furniture, frames, small woodwork items. Lamps are just like #1 still, or that they're always up there. Bikes, it depends on your repair cafe how popular those would be. Clothing and textiles, always a big one. I mean, you don't need to have someone with a sewing machine. It could be somebody who's doing some hand sewing. But toys, you might not even need to have a separate table for that, because toys could be electronics. Just that one's complicated. Blade sharpening, also huge, really super popular. And Work Sharp is this company in Oregon that manufactures and sells blade sharpening equipment, and they actually sent us free this blade sharpening kit, 2 of them. But I found that it was a little more, it was kind of complicated to use them, because there was this really beautiful electric one, but you start with, with 5 different grits for 5 different belts with different grits on them. And the problem is you have to swap out each one, for each blade that you were sharpening. So it didn't make sense. Like, if you had like 5 knives, did you do the lowest grit first? So it almost was more of a hassle, and it took a very long time. So when I was at the Jersey City Repair Cafe, Elizabeth's husband had this fantastic 3-sided blade sharpener that I think we're going to invest in. And I have another repair coach who's really interested in doing blade sharpening too. And that's the other thing, you're going to get ideas from your volunteers too. It's also helpful to have a glue table. We have a bunch of cheap clamps that if somebody needs to hold something together, they can just take the clamp with them, and they can return it if they want. And like a variety of glues, like for ceramic, for shoes, for jewelry, for all kinds of things. And then, so these are, yes, just more other ideas. Computers and devices can be a little tough, because the devices are just vary so much with what could be wrong with them. Like, if it's a broken screen, you're not going to have all of that stuff with them. I mean, I would love to have a phone or a small device repair clinic where you'd have, because I mean, especially if you can't afford a repair like this, these can get really expensive. It would be great to have some kind of clinic where you first diagnose what's wrong. And then maybe there's a grant or something like that. You can buy all these parts and then everybody comes back for the actual, the hospital stay or whatever, like the actual treatment day. Like you have a diagnosis and then you have your treatment. But that's just an idea. But most of the time for computer stuff, it's mostly troubleshooting stuff that computers are just acting a little wonky or our phones are not really behaving right and people need help clearing some stuff off, something like that. I love this idea. I don't know if this is Warwick or one of the Hudson Valley Repair Cafes has somebody there who specializes in photo restoration of either physical photos and also digital photos. Jewelry is a hugely popular one. Watches, so replacing batteries and straps. I got this idea from Hudson Valley and bought a watch replacement kit, but it's really not that. You don't really need it. You really just need this one tool from that kit, which is to wedge the back of the battery the back of the watch off. And then this thing called a watch press, which just presses it back together. I bought a bunch of batteries, like the most common ones that I looked up online. It's really insane how many sizes there are. I mean, like, can't we just have like maybe 15 or so? But no, it's just like there's so many different sizes and some of them are just like barely even different. So that is another really popular one. You could try, we don't do this, but metal repair and welding. We do have soldering here. That has been coming in handy. Somebody could maybe do musical instruments, even tuning for musical instruments. It's since it's such a connection with sustainability initiatives, you could have, and if you have the room, you could have an answer table for the public. You could have like your information, your books, magazines, that kind of thing. This is also a cute thing. This the kids take it apart table. This is, I think, from Warwick. Elizabeth Knight had this offered this photo in another event, another webinar that went very, very smoothly. But that this is just really cute. It just shows like kids can get involved in this too. Let's get to the next. So when the repair is done, you are going to, and this is a sticking point, because the information that you collect is important. You want to be able to demonstrate the effectiveness of your repair cafe. You want to be able to record what you're doing, to have information that you can share with other people, like that says, this is what we did, and here is the data that I have. But it's all the stuff on paper. And so you have to transfer that paper to a spreadsheet, which isn't impossible, but sometimes people's handwriting is terrible and they don't all write down the same things. So I have a couple of spreadsheets that I use from Hudson Valley that I use to keep track of this, but I often get a high school volunteer, but this handwriting is really impossible, especially cursive. They're like cursive is impossible to read, especially from these, people are just writing and holding a huge clock or something, trying to get something down. So it can be really hard to read this stuff. Now, and this is a quote from a wonderful Gabrielle Griffiths, who's a librarian in Massachusetts, who has been running fix-it clinics and repair cafes out there. And I did a webinar with her and Elizabeth last month on repair cafes and just why libraries and repair cafes are such a great combination. And then here is the things that I talked about, like the signs, and also there's a list of consumables and how to contact people, or you can use the QR code will also work. And I will send this to everybody who's signed up for this presentation too. So you don't need to panic. I have everybody's email addresses, so I will send this to you. So I'm going to get to your questions now, because there's some really excellent questions here, because I think that there are things that I haven't thought about. Let me see. I can skip through all the ones about the Zoom webinar. So yes, so somebody mentioned about the Madison Repair Cafe, and that was Paul Lamar. He's just a stellar repair cafe person. He was actually in the background of the Today Show, the April of last year, did a repair cafe at Rockefeller Center. And a whole, like dozens of people from the Hudson Valley came down for that. And Paul was in the crowd. I don't even know what time he had to get up that morning to go to that. But yeah, he was there. And then let me see. So the repair stations. So it really depends on what you feel comfortable offering, because this is your event. It depends on how many volunteers you have. I mean, sometimes I've had to cancel. Oh my gosh! Once the person who does sewing for me, and I wish we had more people who do this, but she and her husband got COVID like 2 days before the event, and I had already had this, the big banner over the train trestle saying like textiles. So I just had to get the word out about that. And her husband's actually he is the one who. He's like, I'm the MC. He just manages everything. He knows which people are expert at certain repairs, and he can direct traffic. He can see when supplies are getting low about, paperwork or anything like that. So so we don't limit it really. You get to decide this kind of thing. And then, we've had up to, 50 to 70 people come in with items. And it seems to magically start just fading out at around 3:30. We've never had to turn anybody away. We've been lucky about that. I don't know whether people just stop coming, but it gets difficult when people have more than one item. If they do, and it's crowded, we'll say you have to get to the end of the line with that item. Like you come in with, a vase that needs to be glued, and then with Furby, you have to go to the end with that Furby, whichever one you have brought in second. And you have to do a form for each one. It gets more complicated if you have jewelry, because sometimes people come in with a few little pieces, or if you have watches, they'll come in with like 4 watches that need to have the batteries replaced, or 6 or 7 knives. And I think that it depends on how patient everybody is, but for the knives, usually try to limit it to 4. I mean, depending on what the line is. If there's nobody else in line, then you can keep going. But that's something that you'll need to you can figure out as you're also going along. But it's good to keep in touch with the people who are waiting too. So if you were Alexis is wondering, if you're only picking a few types of repair, which would you choose? Like, which sees the most action? So for us, textiles, jewelry, lamps, knives, and the watch batteries. Those are the biggest ones. But small electrics, and then miscellaneous is such a horrible category. It's not really a category, but it covers a lot of these. You're just going to get weird stuff. Sometimes you don't even know what it is, how to describe it, or someone just leaves a brand name. So it really depends on who your volunteers are, because you're going to be able to offer help in whatever your volunteers have strength in. So, and then people will bring in what they have, and you'll do what you can. But you can also, I ask people at every event, anyone who's interested in volunteering, please see me. You don't have to be a repair expert. So let's see. And then Karen's saying she's planning on start with a pop-up or specialty cafe, which is a great idea. I mean, I love doing that. I'd love to be able to focus on just one thing. And let me see. Keep going. Okay. Stephanie's wondering how much we use Facebook like for social media. So social media, I'm still on the fence about how valuable it is. Like how much it gets the word out, but direct emails are the best if you can get, but you have to be able to email people. You have to have their email addresses. And we do have email through we have an email newsletter with Repair Café Garden State, but it depends on what you have the ability to do, what you have the time to do. I do post, and Courtney will post about the event on the Repair Café Garden State page. And we also, it depends on whether or not you want to have your a social media account for your exact Repair Cafe too. And we just have it for Repair Café Garden State. And then I will advertise it also on the Ridgewood Public Library Facebook. But I don't, it really, it depends on how much you use it, whether it's how comfortable you are with it, how familiar with you are, and what your results are too. It's really important to pay attention to like what the results that you're getting. So let's see another. Okay. And oh my gosh, like repair cafes have Spanish translations of the forms. That is a great idea. I would love to do that. I don't know of any, but this is something that like when you're in a Google group to pose that question, and there might be somebody in that group that will have that. And then what orgs would you, okay, to what orgs would you write grant proposals? And I'm not totally sure about that, but if you, through your municipality, if your municipality might have small grants through Sustainable Jersey, if you have any local foundations that have, that give out, like I know I live in Montclair actually, and so Montclair has some small foundations that like there's a Montclair Fund for Educational Excellence that might be able to do this for a student project. So I don't have any in mind right now. So sorry about that. And so for repair parts, so charging. So this is a good question about what do you charge? So some people do. And I usually charge or ask for, not really charging because it's a like ask for donation for the silver watch batteries. And then also, donations. I need to show you this. So this is our little donation box. So we have this little box that I actually made in some other at Maple Wood Shop thing. And so I keep our, see our name tags. I have name tags for all of our volunteers, and they're in this other little clip-ons because then they can just reuse them too. So we do get a good amount of donations, probably get anywhere from $100 to $150 each time. And to get your first one started though, you could ask Home Depot for a $50 gift card or whatever, ask Lowe's for a gift card. The idea behind the gift card is that if you're going to be spending it at their store, they might, you might get a little bit, I don't know, they might be more likely to give you $50 rather than 25 or something like that. So, and to a local hardware store too. You could see if you could get any supplies from them. And then you can use that list that's in this folder here. So for watch batteries, yeah, for the watch batteries, they do ask for like $2 or $3 for those. We don't have straps though. So for something like that, I would expect people to bring their own stuff. And sometimes people will have some supplies, or they will have looked up how to repair something and they say, oh, I brought this little gasket in, whatever. And then, which would be super helpful. Sometimes people call or will email you if they have your contact information beforehand, and they'll say, do you repair DVD players, or could you repair this this watch? This watch strap is broken, and I've never had anyone ask to have the watch strap there. They've brought in the watch strap, and we've been able to replace it. Though you do have to make sure that one wife gave her watch and a new watch band to her husband to bring in, and we replaced it. And then he brought it home, and she's left-handed. I guess he just forgot about that. And so she brought it back, and we just switched it around, which is easy, but it's kind of a funny thing to keep in mind. It's just like, are you right or left-handed? So, so an app on an iPad. So there is oh my gosh, I think it's in Arizona. There might be a repair cafe that actually, even before Repair Monitor, like there's another organization that's international that tries to collect all this data. They created their own app. So I don't have an app to be able to record all this information. And you need to have a few iPads, but iPads are a possibility, but you really have to have a few of them, because you also want to keep that piece of paper with you when you're getting it repaired, because you want to be able to turn that back in to the front desk, or you want to get that back in. You want to be able to write down, okay, this is, Ben did the repair. That was a repair coach, and yeah, it's sort of fixed. So but other ideas are just, this is where like our collective minds can really come up with other ideas. And so Karen is wondering about Repair Monitor. So Repair Monitor is this international organization that keeps track of it tries to keep track of all the things that get repaired and what brands get repaired, what brands break down more, what brands just can't be repaired. And they actually use this data to lobby legislatures, mostly in the EU, to improve laws regarding repairability. And they actually do succeed. They've managed to push, like, I think a few coffee manufacturers, Philips, to make their products more repairable, to make spare parts easier to get to. And even in the US, we see some right to repair laws starting there. Some of them are pretty weak, but it's going there. And it's really another important part. And I talk about the right to repair too. Sometimes if there's a law that's being proposed, I'll put up a little QR code with some description about it. Like, is this important to you? Then, contact your representative about this. So I have not uploaded my information to that because I just haven't had the time, because it is really important. I know it's important, but I just haven't been able to get to that. And then from financing this, fortunately, I do this as part of my job here, and I've been really lucky to be able to add this to my job. We do have a friends group that raises a lot of money here at the library, and we've bought mostly supplies come through them and through donations also that people have dropped into our little box over here, and through the Library Foundation also has donated we bought this really huge cart that I was going to bring down to swing in here, but somebody was using the tech lab for a meeting. So we bought this large wheeled work table, like a workbench that has drawers on it, where at the end.
Back down.
Oh, no.
Okay, I'm sorry, if somebody could keep this down. Okay, I don't know. Okay. So if everybody could mute again, that would be the okay.
I need to be quiet.
So I'm gonna just try to mute everybody. So, okay. So yeah, so that is, and it's actually not tremendously expensive, but we've gotten a lot of donations for this. And like I said, my time is like, I'm very lucky, but these aprons we got from the Friends group, raised money for this, or from their annual fundraising, they allocated some money for this. So do you ever have an issue with that somebody's unhappy with a repair, that something cannot be repaired? So in the past, I could have said, nope, never had an issue, but I did have a problem. And this is after, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 repair cafes, that somebody was really unhappy with a watch. And now when I've changed a lot of watch batteries, but I don't change one if I'm like scared of it. I don't, and I want to make sure, like, do you really want me to take your Cartier watch apart? So I do make sure that I know what to handle. But it was actually a staff member here opened up somebody's watch, and it was just didn't use the right size battery, and it pushed the face out. And so that was a little, that was unpleasant. And the owner, knew that it was at his own risk, but that was a little difficult. But that is the only thing that has happened. And people are usually pretty happy to get their stuff repaired. And even if it's not repaired, that they feel like, well, at least I tried. Because there are lots of things that you're not even gonna be able to open because they're fused plastic, or they're welded together, that they're just not even meant to be opened. So, and it's really frustrating, and it's informative too. It's like, you can do something about this. You need to take action to prevent this kind of thing from happening.
Larissa,
oh yes.
Was there something that you're going to do at the end of the session? Because I think we're at the end of the session.
Yes, I know. I'm trying to get through I know we're almost there. I'm just going to get through these other questions. So there's their demographic. There is not, it tends to be a little bit older, but the volunteers are young, and also and older. So one of the things that I love about Repair Cafe is like, it is one of the only nonpartisan activities that is left out there. Really, it's just really appeals to almost everybody. It's just really wonderful. So yeah, the Cartier girls. Yeah. Yes, so I am going to tell you all about, let me get back to, I'm going to stop sharing this. So I will, let me get sorry about this. So I'm going to, oh gosh, I can't even get out of this anymore. So I'm sorry. This is just not even. Oh my gosh, I've do Zooms all the time. I can't believe this one is so terrible. So we'll just leave it here. So I will, if you could email Repair Cafe. Let me get this actual, and I always forget the email address, whether it's a Repair Cafe Garden State or Garden State Repair Cafe. So I think I told everybody earlier about the marketing part, where to talk to us. Yes. So if you could, well, I'll email everybody also just about with these slides, but you can also contact us at repaircafegardenstate@gmail.com, or if you visit the actual repaircafegs.org, you can sign up for the newsletter right there, and then you'll get the regular monthly newsletter that Courtney puts out. And that you'll find out about other events that are happening also, because really the best way to prepare for a Repair Cafe is to visit one that's already in action. And I think that everybody who's started one has been to at least one. And even if you're running one, I mean, I've just learned so much from other Repair Cafes too. So if you could go to repaircafegs.org and make sure that you sign up for the newsletter. And I will start, I think that it'll be really helpful for us to have an actual Zoom chat. I'm not going to use this workstation version again, but one where we can all see each other's faces. So that's not a webinar, because this was really intended just to convey information rather than to have us all exchange information about where we're at. So I would like to set up another time where we can all talk and share where we're at, the ideas that we all have, and see how we can help each other out. And I'll make sure that I'll invite everybody to join the Google group. Also, you can decline the invitation if you want. It really is it's not a super busy group, but I'd love to get one at least strengthened so that we can share what we know and keep a record also of everything that we know. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for all of the technical problems that we had, but I will share this slideshow plus all of the other information with everybody. And I'll also invite everybody to join the Google group in just a few minutes, and I'll see if there's anything else to check about. Oh, the Google group, Jen, I'll invite everybody to join the Google group. That you don't have to worry about that. You can decline the invitation, anyone can decline it, but I'll at least give you the option so you can join it. So thank you very much for your patience, everybody. And I'm sorry, but I never had this many technical problems, but I hope you all have a great day. And thank you so much for being interested in Repair Cafes. It was great to be able to at least hear a few people. Thank you.